Hello everyone, how you going, and welcome back to Life Hacks, a place where really we should all just be coming more often because, well, like it says, uncommon solutions to common problems. If we all have common problems, then why don't we kind of looking for solutions? And considering the fact that these people are just handing them out for free and it might even change your life, I mean, sign me up. But anyway, let's jump straight into it, shall we? Starting right off with, so there's an adjustment for loose doors. Ooh, alright, what are we going to have? Because so many doors are just that slightly a little bit loose, exactly like that, you know, they just rattle around, you open another door and they're just in the wind or whatever it might be, and they just go all night and keep you up. Oh, I see where this is going. I mean, I feel as though this isn't going to be with every single door because every single door latch isn't going to have that little toggle, but I mean, I guess it makes sense. Oh, but look at how well that works. I mean, I wish I could do this to every door. I think my door right now actually has that exact problem where it can actually kind of wobble around a little bit, but like I said, I'm fairly sure that I don't have that little tab there. And also, I guess over time you will probably have to kind of bend it back out again, because every time you go to open the door, shut the door, or if someone pushes on the door or anything like that, you'll probably just bend it back in with a latch. And so, you know, obviously it's an easy fix to just kind of bend it back out. But no, what can I say besides the fact that this is just a perfect life hack post for so many people, you know, like I said, and like it says, it's just common problems that people just go, oh, I wish I could kind of fix this thing, but I don't know how to. And perhaps you do a little bit of researching going, oh, I'm going to need some like rubber seals or even just a little bit of expansion foam where you just even have to kind of re-chisel out the door frame. No. You just have to get a screwdriver, hopefully your latch has that little toggle, and then just bend it out. You'll be fine. Or perhaps actually you'll be more than fine, because all of a sudden you'll actually be able to sleep with your windows open, and then so you're not kind of cooking or freezing, or I don't even know which way you'll go around, but it doesn't matter because finally you're not being kept up with the door just kind of going whack, 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 whack all night long. I mean, I guess it is exactly what this sub is all about, but at the same time, I feel as though this post in particular is just an absolute bang for buck, if nothing else, you know, because the amount of time spent on just this little fix is absolutely worth the reward. So yeah, it is definitely a life hack. I guess the only thing you do have to watch out for is that you don't kind of bend it too far and just completely snap the thing off. But I mean, you'd certainly have to be trying pretty hard. And really, I guess if you did accidentally snap it off, you'd kind of just be back to square one, so you kind of can't lose in this situation. Use an old cupcake tray to organize your nuts and bolts when dismantling something. Oh yeah, just another life hack that's been absolutely served on a silver platter for you. I mean, it definitely makes sense in terms of just the size and just how easy it is to kind of pick things out, because you know, you might want a little container, you might have to all of these different things to sort, but when you have individual containers for everything, that is kind of easy to knock one over, and then you have to kind of pick them all up, and they could get mixed over if you knock more than one over, and then it's just an entirely just a bigger situation than it needs to be. Whereas when you do it this way, you can clearly separate it all out like they've done here. You can label it as well, and even just the fact that you could store, if you needed to, some fairly large nuts and bolts in there. So really, it is definitely a win-win-win-win. And I guess in saying that, if you did want to level up the system again, you could so easily just kind of put magnets in the base of them, and then you're not going to have the screws and nuts and bolts falling out on you all over the place. So yeah, what can I say? Even though it is kind of a niche life hack, it is definitely a life hack at that. And really, to be honest, thinking about it, the only thing that I can think of that is actually a counter argument to using this method is, I don't know, just someone doesn't have an old tray. And I feel as though if that is the worst part about the entire life hack, then you're doing pretty well. And yeah, you might have your trusty old one that you just don't really want to get rid of, but this is just going to be the perfect way to kind of demote it and get a new one that is just, I don't know, not corroded and rusty anymore. Or hey, maybe it's just even time to get that silicone one you've had your eye on for so long. But really, I feel as though everyone can actually conjure up a tray, and even if you don't have a cupcake tray, I'm sure you can probably just go out and buy one like this for probably like $4 or something like that. And so really, it'll cost you next to nothing and just save you so much time and effort just having to deal with unsorted screws. Threading a needle with magic. Now, I didn't know I was on the Black Magic subreddit, but oh my goodness, well, wow, that is actually quite impressive. I didn't know that was even a thing that could even work. I mean, obviously it has been shown to be work. Oh, we're going to get some slow-mo, or is it just going to be done in slow motion for us? Here we go. Oh, how's it working? Oh wow, that is actually kind of impressive in terms of how it works. I thought it was just kind of wrapping around at first, but no, it actually just kind of works its way through. And really, I'm kind of in two minds about the entire thing, because on one hand I'm going, well, of course it works, it's just that easy, and on the other hand I just don't really understand how it works. I mean, I guess all they're doing is just using the rigidity of the thread to just kind of work and push its way through, but at the same time I certainly wouldn't say that thread is the most, or is the most rigid thing in the world. So as well as being in two minds about the entire thing and how it even works, I feel as though I'm also in two minds about if this is even really necessary. I mean, I guess for some people it might be necessary because it's much easier to just kind of roll it over instead of having to use their eyes if they have poor eyesight to kind of thread the needle. But I must say, my very, very limited experience with threading needles, I don't feel as though I've ever really had a challenge to actually get it through. You know, you just kind of chop it nice and tight, and maybe you just even wet the tip a little bit just to stop it fraying and everything like that, as you try and get it through. So to be honest, I feel as though, like I said, even though it is very limited experience, but I've never actually had a problem with threading the needle if I do follow those techniques. I mean, hey, I guess exactly like I just said, I have very, very limited experience, and I can't say I'm having to deal with this every single day. So maybe this is actually a life hack for heaps of people that are just going, oh my goodness, they're just going to save me so much time because I've been wrestling with threading the eye of the needle for ages. And I guess kind of like the last post that we saw, and even the first one, you know, they're all kind of niche little things that obviously get upvoted, and so they're helping some people out, and just because they're not really helpful for me doesn't mean they're not helpful for the others. So really, as well as being uncommon solutions to common problems, it is also kind of just common solutions to uncommon problems. Foil knives are rubbish. Use a vegetable peeler to remove foil from a wine bottle quickly. This one sounds as though you're about to MacGyver a wine bottle. Whoa, okay, okay then, I see what you were talking about in terms of that regard. I'm not too sure what happened to the cork or the screw cap. I mean, I guess looking at this, it is definitely not a screw cap. And really, to be honest, I feel as though I've never actually seen a wine bottle that doesn't have a cork or a screw top. It just doesn't really make sense because then, well, I guess the cork generally can't reuse, but the screw top definitely gets reused. But hey, what can I say? I guess this post is exactly like I said with the last one, you know, even though it doesn't affect me personally, I'm sure, well, I guess like I said last time, it is obviously and clearly affecting a whole bunch of people because a whole bunch of people thought it was an absolute life hack, and so what can I say? I can't argue with statistics like that. I mean, I must say, objectively, I feel as though cutting through a whole bunch of aluminium foil like that is definitely going to kind of blunt in your vegetable peeler or potato peeler, whatever you want to call it, just way faster than it would otherwise be doing, because I feel as though it's fairly safe to say that even though aluminium isn't the hardest metal in the world, at the same time, it is definitely going to blunt in your knife or blade or whatever a little bit quicker than it otherwise would be with just doing vegetables. I must say, from what I can see, it works incredibly well, and I really don't know how else you would do it in this circumstance. I mean, usually don't they have kind of a pull tab or something you can actually kind of do, but I don't know if this one is different, but I guess when you just cut a slit in it like that, it certainly removes all the need for the pull tab. And also, I guess I have to give credit where credit's due in terms of the fact that you're actually using a potato peeler and not a knife or something a little bit more dangerous to do this, because like I just said, the peeler works so well in this situation, but it is nowhere near as dangerous as just an open blade. And hey, even though it definitely looks like a red wine, I don't know if you've ever seen the videos of people trying to kind of saber open champagne or whatnot, but really the potato peeler would just completely stop that because you're not able to give it that much mass and that much energy and just completely knock the top off. You know, you'd probably break the blade before you broke the top of the bottle. But hey, if you're of drinking age wherever you are in the world and this helps you out, then I guess it's more power to you, and hopefully this helps you out. It doesn't really help me out, so to say, you know, I've definitely never seen anything like this, and so I guess we can just have our differences in that department. This might actually come in handy. Ooh, alright, now you've certainly piqued my interest with a little bit of woodworking action or whatever this is going to turn out to be. Ooh, oh, wow, that is actually kind of like just a jig, but it's such an easy jig. Look at that, just using a washer and running a texture along it, and then hey, it's just that easy. You just run a jigsaw along and then bam, whack it in. To be honest, I feel as though it's not just that easy. You certainly have to take a couple of other things into consideration when doing this, you know, make sure it's all square so you're not just kind of cutting on an angle or things like that, but at the same time, you know, it definitely works well if you get it right. And of course, you also have to be good on the jigsaw and everything to make it work that well, but really, it does work surprisingly well. I mean, I guess it should, like I said, but I'm pretty impressed. Saying that, I must admit that I have seen other videos before that have just completely blown me away in terms of the little technique change that they use just to make absolutely perfection of cuts and just angles and all these things in tiles and all those kind of things as well. Whereas even though this one is definitely cool, I feel as though I'm just not as blown away as some of the other ones that I've seen. And hey, I guess this trick doesn't just apply to warped walls or whatever this is, and you know, you might be able to use it in a whole range of circumstances where you just go, hang on a second, there is a way easier way to do this, even just without making a full-on wooden jig. You know, you just kind of whack a washer and a bit of a Sharpie on there and you're just done. But even if it didn't work, it might actually just change your entire approach about how you actually go about building the project. And so what can I say, this sub is definitely one of the most broad subs out there, from just little tips and tricks about carpentry to little tips and tricks about sewing, and then even just being able to kind of get the cork or whatever that was off the top of a wine bottle. It really does have something for everyone. And hey, if you're just kind of doing your renovation and then also sewing and then also kind of treating yourself at the end of the day, well, I guess it just has everything for you all at once. Accidentally tore the side of your bag of chips, use a hole puncher to keep it from spreading. Now, I must admit, I feel as though I've never ever had this problem, because maybe I actually just finish every single bag of chips that I've ever opened, or maybe I'm just kind of don't care and just kind of roll it up, or I don't know, I just feel as though I've never actually had a problem where I go, oh, this rip better not rip anymore, because it's a bag of chips, you can just kind of rip it open so you have better access towards the bottom, whatever it may be. But hey, like I keep saying, there's obviously a whole bunch of people that this really appeals to, and really I guess that means there's a whole bunch of people that just aren't as hungry as I am. Even if they are, I don't really know what is it going to be verified gluten free. I mean, obviously there's going to be kettle chips I can see there, but no, this is certainly just a very reasonable thing to do if that's what you actually want to do in terms of stopping your bag from ripping, because I guess all the hole puncher is actually doing is just making a nice new fresh hole with no kind of weaknesses anywhere. You know, being a circular doesn't really have any weaknesses. I mean, it obviously has a tear line from before, but it's not going to re-tear where it's already torn. And I guess it is actually pretty incredible the difference between a circle and just a flat edge in terms of how easy it is to rip. You know, when you have the packets that are actually designed to be torn open, they often have the little serrated edge. I don't know what to call it besides that, but the serrated edge just provides so many little areas of weakness that it makes it so easy to tear. And so when you invert the entire thing and just make it a circle, I mean, I guess it makes sense. I mean, I must say, even though I don't particularly like to play devil's advocate for any of these posts, at the same time, I feel as though not everyone, when they have a chip packet, is just going to have a hole punch on them. You know, I feel as though that is two things that are generally not come hand in hand, because unless somebody's going to be at their desk eating chips, which I'm sure a whole bunch of people probably do, but really, unless that is actually the case, I don't feel as though anyone is just generally going to be having a hole punch on them at any random time. And also, that's just going to be picturing someone just trying to use, I don't really know what to call it besides a binder hole punch, you know, when it has the two holes, but just one of those hole punches to try and do this and just trying to line it up, when this one would obviously be so easy with this tool, just kind of, yeah, no worries, where the binder one would actually be kind of a wrestle, because you would probably have to lay the chip bag down a particular way and then also try and feed it into the little hole and everything. Oh, it'd be a nightmare, whereas this one is actually quite easy to do. So even though I do feel as though with every passing post we do get a little bit bit more niche in terms of just what you need on hand and also just what the entire situation is. I feel as though this one, if you are a person that is actually sitting at their desk and you have a whole bunch nearby and this is a problem for you, well then there you go, I've just solved your day. And you poor thing, no longer will you have to deal with sale chips because the entire bag ripped open. No, all you have to do is just whip out your trusty hole puncher, then hey, problem solved. Rip up junk mail and send it back with the included business reply envelope. The business gets charged per returned mail piece. Well then, I must say that I have never ever heard of this rule before. I mean, as we can see here, it is definitely in the US, so maybe that is only a US thing, and hey, I guess if that's the rules that they're going to play by and you really don't want your spam letters anymore, then well, I guess this is definitely a deterrent. But looking at that pile of ripped up paper, now I'm just wondering about how the hell the post office even knows about how many pieces of paper are in there, because surely there is no way that without opening it and counting it by hand that you'd be able to tell. I mean, I have absolutely no idea how the letters get scanned or anything, but let's just call it an x-ray machine. If you put it through an x-ray machine, you're just going to get this jumbled mess, and so you're certainly not going to be able to count that either way, and so just how the hell do they even get charged for that? I mean, I guess either way, even if you don't rip it up and you just send it back whole, they're certainly going to be charged for at least one letter, and so I guess it just depends about how mean you are feeling, and if you actually want to completely ruin the day and just make them be charged, I don't know, $100 for a letter or something like that, because if it's the first spam letter that you've received from these people, I feel as though maybe you'd be able to cut them a little bit of slack and just not actually rip it up into a million pieces. But then on the other end of the spectrum, if they do just keep sending you spam letters over and over and over again, you just go, right, I'm shredding this piece of paper and just send you back every single little piece and you're gonna pay for it all. And also just think about it, I feel as though this is the most indirect life hack we've ever had, because it doesn't directly benefit you in any way, shape or form, and really it just takes some time from you ripping all of them up and then having to post a letter off. So really, I don't know how I feel about this one, because yeah, it's obviously a spam letter and yeah, they're annoying, but at the same time, you're just kind of making your business spend money for the sake of them spending money, and I just don't feel as though sinking to their level or even just below their level is actually a life hack. I mean, maybe it's just me, maybe you think differently. I mean, like I said, it is definitely a deterrent, but I just don't feel as though it is truly a life hack. And so now finally, with the top of the month for life hacks, we have remove tape paper without tearing it. Is this going to be like how to get a sticker off a cardboard box or something? Oh no, okay, so we're going to be sticking tape over a little bit of that. Okay, yeah, that is always what happens. What are we going to have here? How are we going to be doing this? Okay, so you just stuck it down more, maybe you just made sure that it was actually stuck down. Oh, I see what they've done there. They just completely stretched the glue beyond belief, and so it just doesn't want to stick anymore. Or I guess perhaps you just done something in the chemistry but just completely broken that bond, so it just does not care anymore. So with that being the case, I can absolutely agree and just totally understand why this is top of the month. This is unbelievable of a life hack in terms of just seeing people wanting to kind of keep their labels and whatnot. And even though this sub is virtually just purely comprised of just good stuff, at the same time I feel as though what the most annoying thing about this entire sub is the fact that every single one of these life hacks are just so easy and just things that you could have implemented so long ago if you just knew them. I mean, hey, I guess in saying that, it's certainly better late than never, but really there are just so many things you just go, oh, I could have saved so much time and so much pain and so much frustration, especially with things like this, and I went through all of that just because I wasn't one of the original people that were just blessed with this knowledge. But even though this one is still kind of a niche one, because I don't feel as though I've ever had to kind of untape a piece of paper, but I guess at the same time you never know when you might need one of these things, from just being able to remove tape from a piece of paper, or even just opening a wine bottle or threading a needle. Just exactly like I said earlier, this sub is so broad, and really that's probably one of my favorite things about it. But anyway, that is going to do it for the top of the month for life hacks, so thank you for watching. If you did enjoy the video, feel free to do the YouTube algorithmic things down below. Let me know if you had a favorite post out of any of these. Other than that, we check out awesome posts all over Reddit, so make sure you check some of the other videos out now. Or hey, maybe you just want to consider subscribing so don't miss out on one of these in the future. But all in all, have a good one and see ya.